The latest mock draft from ESPN from Gavoni and Wu have the Portland Trailblazers taking Egor Demin, the wing guard from BYU.
BYU. Wow.
Egor is one of the biggest risers of the combine in that his measurements came out even better than expected. He was essentially 6'9" barefoot. He's a big guard.
I like that.
That is a big guard. He, to me, and I think to most evaluators, is the best passer in this draft. Only shot 27% from three at BYU and struggled to finish around the rim, which you kind of wonder, like, dude, you're that big. You got to figure that out. But the interview process this week in Chicago, everybody I've talked to has said he was spectacular. Not only from the character side of it, but the IQ, the feel, all the things that you kind of associate with him. And then in his pro day, which if you think NFL pro days are scripted, NBA pro days are, it's Hollywood blockbuster stuff. It's nothing but scripts, baby. But guys that have really shown and popped off in these in the past, like Scotty Barnes, have done themselves some real good in these processes. And Egor did show that he has changed his shooting form. He's tightened it up. There's a lot, and that's the thing. There's a lot of guys in college, man. Their shooting mechanics, most of them, I would say, have a pretty decent fundamental base. But there's so much extraneous stuff that goes on because you have more time to get your shot off, which, again, kind of going back to we opened the show, the golf swing. When you have all these other things that are going on, it leads to a lot of error. When I watched Egor shoot, I was like, it doesn't look broken.
Now, he was a guy, though, that he came into BYU with a lot of hype around him.
And he beat the crap out of everybody in non-conference.
And then the struggles started and settling in. That'll happen. Playing in the Big 12, very good basketball conference. But there was a bit of, I don't know if it would be apprehension or hope, depending on what side you're on. There was a lot of rumblings, though, that he may go back to BYU for another year. And we know that BYU has got an unbelievable amount of NIL available for them. There's the idea that with AJ DeBonsa, who, did you see his post? He went to LDS church for the first time over the weekend?
No.
Yeah. There were pictures of him out in front of the LDS church.
Really buying in.
Yeah. But you have the fact that he would be playing alongside another elite NBA talent. And there was like this, whether it's hope on the BYU side or maybe the nitpicking on the NBA side, that he might return to BYU for another year. And so that was maybe holding back a few of his projections. But at 11, what are the things that the Blazers have signaled to everybody that they covet? Size, length, versatility.
Yeah. And again, the playmaking part of this is something that the Blazers drastically, desperately need. They need more creation. They need more playmaking. They need more feel. They need more IQ. And Lord knows they love size. And
by the way, he's already played a year of professional basketball. He played for Real Madrid prior to going to BYU.
There are certainly things about him that make me think he's maybe bigger Josh Giddey, which, to be honest, is a good player. It's a lot easier to hide a 6'9" guard than it is to hide a 6-foot guard, which is what I've seen some Blazers fans out there like, oh, I really like Jace Richardson. I do not. I do not like Jace Richardson. He is 6 foot tall. His measurements did not do him any.
Literally
help.
6 feet tall.
Yeah, and I have nothing against him. If the obstacles you have to overcome at 6 foot, you better be Chris Paul.
Yeah.
It's just like Darius Garland is 6'2", but he also is one of the best ball handlers, creators in the league, and he has deficiencies he has to overcome. But he's also a credible shooter with an unbelievable touch and floater, while being an organizer and probably one of the 10 fastest guys in the league. There's so many things that you have to tick in order to overcome that.
Yeah, and it ain't gonna happen.
Well,
right away.
Yeah, and Jace, like Davion Mitchell, off night, one of the best nicknames in sports. If he's 6'5", he's a hell of a player, but he's 6 foot tall. And so you limit yourself to who you can guard and how effective you can be. And when you don't have the ability to be an offensive engine, all of a sudden now your lineup functionality is very limited. And you can say, well, what about Peyton Pritchard? It's like, well, the reason Peyton Pritchard works is he's insulated, number one, by an enormous team that is very good, and he's asked to do three things: shoot, dribble, get into space. You limit what he does to what he does very well, but they're able to do that because they've got a 6'7" wing, a 6'10" wing, a 7'3" big, a 6'10" big, and two of the best perimeter defenders in basketball. Those luxuries aren't afforded to everybody else, and you can't be like, well, if this guy gets into a situation where he's on a title team, maybe he can play.
Well, and he's elite at the shooting part.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, he's elite, but he's elite. Elite
Yes.
is better than just being
Good.
really good
Yeah.
or great at those things.
And when you're 6'9", as Egor Demin is, it's a lot easier to kind of figure some stuff out. Yes, he needs to figure out the shooting. Yes, he needs to figure out the finishing. Like, you need to be a lot better at those things. But when you have the physical tools to be able to be better at those things that give you much more wiggle room, defensively he's not good. And I started watching tape on him on Sunday, doing my deep dive on him. I've got him because I kind of have a general idea of the guys that are going to be available at 11. I'm the write-up I've got is basically between him and Kasparas Giacosionis. I lean towards Kasparas because he's more my type of player. He's a bit more physical, a bit more downhill. I like his toughness a little bit more than Yegor's. And I don't think Yegor's weak. I just look at, Yegor he got on the scale at 199 at 6'9". Kasparas Giacosionis got on the scale. I think he was 207 at 6'4" and 3/4 barefoot.
Well, isn't that actually bigger than what he went into high school at?
Well,
'Cause
into BYU.
into BYU,
Put on
wasn't
12
he at like
pounds.
190 pounds or something like
he's put
that?
on 12 pounds since he got to BYU. And he's not a guy I look at and go, oh, he could go Giannis, because he doesn't have that kind of frame. He's got more of a Chet frame. He's a long, rangy guy. But look, man, if the Blazers go either Giacosionis or Egor Demin, you either have a 6'5", 6'6" point guard in Kasparas, or you've got a 6'9", 6'10" point guard, and the way you can play all of a sudden becomes very different. Like, let's just say they take Egor and they go into the season and their starting lineup, let's say they start Egor. I don't think they would, but I'm just saying this for purposes. As it stands right now, you'd have Anthony Simons, Egor Demin, Toumani Camara, Denny Avdia, DeAndre Ayton. You have a lot of size. You have a lot of versatility in the way you could mix and match guys.
Yeah.
You could get super weird and have Egor be your ball handler, but have him guard the lesser of the guard assignments if you kind of went in a roundabout way. Toumani at the 1, in a sense, defensively. You have him because more often than not he picks up the lead ball handler anyways.
Yeah.
So you hide Egor on the 2. You could have Denny at the 3 and go super big and kind of get weird with stuff. And those are the kind of things I start looking at and going, I wonder how that would look.
That also fits to the international connection of this Blazers roster that's been built out.
It's the most international team in the league.
Think about it. I mean, Egor is Russian.
Mm-hmm.
Then you'd had Denny from Israel, DeAndre Ayton, Bahamas, Banton and Sharp are Canadian, right? Toumani is Belgian. Then you have Sidi Sissoko, who is French.
And Roops.
Roops is French. Teese is Australian, technically.
Wap is Australian and
South Sudanese. And then you have what's the last? Oh, Ant is from Florida, which is basically a different world. So, yeah, I mean, that's a very international team.
They have I believe 9 players. They have the most international players in the NBA right now.
Yeah. Is Justin Minaya?
Dominican or Puerto Rican, I can never remember. I'm sorry, Justin. But his dad, Omar Minaya, was obviously the manager for the Mets and Yankees.
Well, how about that?
Yeah.
Dominican.
Thank you. I always get it backwards. I'm
All
sorry,
right.
Justin. I'm sure if he heard that, he'd slap me.
Well, he's listening right now.
No, he's not listening right now, but it'll get back to him, I'm sure.
You have very high hopes that that's going to get back to him.
No, I don't. I don't want him to do that because that's one you don't want to get wrong. You don't want to get that one wrong, man. That's not a good one to get wrong. It's like, oh, we just look the same. I was like, no, I just forgot. I'm sorry.
Oh man,
Kills me.
That. Well, but the international flair of the Blazers roster. I mean, that you think about that. There's only 15 slots on that team.
Most of the team is not from here.
Yeah. Well, that's great, and that's to say that DeAndre Ayton has lived his entire life
I
in
think,
the United States.
I think he was there
Matisse
as a little
Thybulle
kid.
went to high school in Seattle.
Yeah, but he did grow up in.
He grew up overseas, but and look, it would be, it's an interesting way to build your roster out, but that's the way the Blazers want it. Mike Schmitz, where did he cut his teeth?
International scouting.
International scouting, right? Who was coaching the G League team last year?
Their assistant GM, who is from Spain. Yeah.
I mean,
Sergio Oliva has a PhD in computational engineering, if I remember right.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but this is like when you think of the way that this team is going to find value at slots that are not the top of the draft, the international game is exactly where you do that. And it should be as no surprise that the more like we get closer and closer to the draft, if we keep finding more and more international players, that's the angle there, guys.
Well, Kasparas Jakubionis, Lithuanian.
Even though these guys played college basketball, both of them in the United States.
They have international
Igor
experience.
at BYU, Illinois for Jakubionis from Illinois. They both have played internationally, and like we were just saying, Igor played for Real Madrid in 2023.
They see the game. If you look at those guys in particular, what do they kind of specialize in? It's their IQ, their feel, their playmaking. It's you were brought up and taught the game differently, and in my opinion, better overseas than we do in the U.S. Now, overwhelming talent being overwhelming talent. You take a look at guys like in the next class with AJ DeBonsa or Cooper Flagg in this class. Like, yeah, you want those guys, but when you're talking about the IQ and feel and everything that comes along with this, those are guys I'm interested in. So there's not going to be any workouts this week. Workouts will resume next week after everybody kind of gets back from Memorial Day weekend. But we'll kind of see who they start bringing through town. I'm very interested to see who they can get coming into town at pick number 11.